Hey guys, what is going on? Ultimus here. This video I want to talk about something big. Patch 6.1 basically is dropping next week. As of the 24th, I believe is the exact date. Definitely caught me by surprise. I wasn't expecting this patch to be out for at least another month or two. But all of a sudden I was trolling the Twitters and the Twangumzoos, and there it was. So I was looking for a video to make anyways, and so this seemed like the perfect opportunity. So what's going on with patch 6.1? What I want to talk about today is, of course, heirlooms, some of the other things coming with it, and specifically looking at warrior talents and changes. I will post a link to the patch notes in the description, as well as a little crash course in 6.1 that Blizzard posted to their World of Warcraft YouTube site if you want to check that out as well. And there is links to the patch notes on that video as well. So I want to make sure you guys have all the information there as well. In this video, what you're going to see going on in the background is just some RBG footage and clips. I'm pretty sure I haven't used this footage yet, so it should be new to you guys, hopefully. But this is more of an informative video anyways than it is meant for gameplay footage, so hopefully you enjoy both. Heirloom tab, it's kind of the biggest one. I feel like that's one everyone's kind of most excited about and looking forward to, because it affects everybody regardless of what aspects of the game you're into. PvE, PvP, sitting in your garrison all day, professions, it doesn't matter. What they're doing is they're adding, of course, that heirlooms tab, and it has all your heirlooms collected into one place. But the big change that they are making to heirlooms is that all the heirlooms that were purchasable for levels like 1 through 60 or so, they're going to be bought for gold. There's going to be a vendor set up where you can purchase these heirlooms for gold, and it looks like the average cost and price for these heirlooms is going to be about 500 gold a pop, so it's not too bad. And then there's ways to upgrade those tokens to where you can use them at higher levels as well. They are, of course, also adding the trinkets and rings to the heirlooms tab as well, so we're getting even more heirlooms on top of what we already have. And of course the necklaces have different health regen aspects to them, which will help a lot with questing, so pretty cool. Excited about that. Another thing that's coming with 6.1 is they're adding some more Darkmoon Faire content. I won't go over all of this too much, but I know what they're adding is a couple other games. Specifically, they're adding a racetrack, and the running joke that I've been seeing since discovering 6.1 is coming out next week has been they're calling it Mario Kart WoW Edition, and it kind of looks like Mario Kart WoW Edition. You're running around and dodging obstacles and grabbing coins and things like that to get through there for the best time, so you can unlock rewards and things of that sort. Of course, rewards are scaled based on how well you do. Next, I want to talk about the new mount that we are getting. There is no information on where it is, how do you obtain it. All we know is that it exists, and apparently it is super rare. And that's all we know. It's called the Void Talon or the Dark Star, and all that Blizzard keeps teasing us with is that if you can find it. So whatever that means, there it is, and this looks like basically it looks like a purple reskin of the Talon of Elisrazor, the Firelands mount that drops that looks like Anzu. So it looks pretty cool. If you, I guess a similar respect would be, remember how they had the Firehawk and they had the Corrupted Firehawk that had the purple glow. Looks very similar to that, just of course it's a ground mount now. Still no flying in patch 6.1, so as far as I'm concerned, that's an A-OK thing. They are updating the flight paths, so this should be a little more intuitive and not waste so much time, which will be nice. And of course, there's a bunch of other things coming with 6.1 as well, but I won't go over all of them because I feel like the video would just be way too long. Looking at the patch notes right now, for PvP, the Primal Gladiators and Primal Combatants badges now have a 2-minute cooldown, up from 1 minute. So they're readjusting that. They're also readjusting Ashran now. Just previously, a couple patches ago, they adjusted Ashran to where there was a 30-minute downtime in between battles to try to motivate people to participate in the other events, and that caused quite an uproar. So what we're going to see in patch 6.1 is there's now only going to be a 10-minute delay between battles after Grand Marshal Tremblade or High Warlord Volrath is killed. So that is my opinion, fabulous change, great choice. It's kind of cool again to see that those are just listening to their community and just kind of, it's a weird mix between giving the community what they want and realizing the community doesn't know what they want. Of course, class changes are coming as well. New garrison updates. We talked about the craft all or create all button for your work orders. They're adding that. Legendary follower. Won't go over all of that, just aside from the brief mention that we had there. But now I want to turn my attention to warriors. I could go over and look at all the classes, but first off, the only ones I'm really familiar with are warriors, death knights, and paladins in first place, so my opinion on any of the other classes would probably be and I'd be completely wrong, so I'm not even going to waste your time. What I am going to look at, though, of course, is warriors, because warriors have been in an interesting place this entire expansion, and it's the class that I play the most, so it is what I am most interested in, so please do forgive me if that offends you. It's just going to kind of go over the entirety of the warrior changes, because it's a pretty small bracket, but I think it's an important bracket. Execute damage is decreased by 11.4%. As much fun as it has been to have execute hitting like 2 semis, smashing in on your target, it is a little out of control. And so I feel like a 11.4% nerf honestly isn't that bad. Nerfs always suck, but 11.4% isn't bad, considering there's bigger debuffs going out there. Warlocks, I feel for you. I do. I feel for you. However, Shield Barrier now absorbs 24.4% more damage, and I'm sure a lot of this is scaling around for item level and things like that, and has PvE things in mind as well. I feel like that's kind of the clear notion that we are getting from Blizzard here in Warlords of Draenor, is that things are definitely being balanced around PvE, which is kind of a bummer as a PvPer. But it is what it is. You just kind of have to roll with the punches and politely but sternly, I suppose, let Blizzard know how we feel about it. It's the best way I can say it. Thunderclap, arms and protection, so you obviously can't use it in Fury. Snare effect now lasts for 10 seconds or 8 seconds while in PvP combat, up from 6 seconds. So a little bit of a increased snare effect there on it, which would be nice, especially because warriors have fewer gap closers than they used to. We're still pretty good as far as gap closers go, but for a melee class, being able to snare or slow targets around is a lot better, especially for your arms compared to Fury, because Fury has piercing howl, whereas in arms you do not. So you definitely feel that difference. So having Thunderclap's snare effect buff for a little bit will be quite nice. Protection, improved defensive stance now increases armor by 10%, up from 5%. Let's talk about talents. Avatar now lasts 20 seconds with a 1.5 minute cooldown, up from lasting 24 seconds with a 3-minute cooldown. So shorter duration, shorter cooldown. 1.5 minute cooldown is definitely more appropriate for that, I think. A 3-minute cooldown was ridiculous. I don't know why it stuck around for as long as it has. But that is definitely a lot more reasonable, and I can honestly say, flat out, I will probably be messing around with the Avatar a lot come 6.1 just to see how it is. And that 1.5 cooldown is going to be so nice, I think. Second wind now increases leech by 25%, up from 10%. Still not going to use it. The buff is nice, but it's still a leech, and the problem is if you're down to that low of health anyways, the last thing you want to do is be sitting out there in combat anyways. I just still do not find second wind to be an optimal choice, and until they change it to an actual like health regen up from a leech, I don't think anyone will be taking it. Siegebreaker for arms and Fury, damage and knockback distance has been increased by 50%, so that's a pretty big buff. Damage increased by 50% as well as the knockback. Only bummer is still not going to use it because it takes away our intimidating shout. Unless somehow it ends up scaling to where it hits like a semi, I really don't see many warriors taking it, and even then I don't feel like the damage trade-off will be high enough. And last but not least, of course, Slam for arms only. Damage has been increased by a whopping 43%. That's huge. That is absolutely huge, especially because they have not changed the mechanics of Slam. It still has the 2 stacking buff on it, where the first time you use it, it gives you a buff, and then that increases its damage. So Slam definitely going to be seeing some life. Again, I think you're going to see a lot of arms warriors using it simply because it gives us an obvious and amazing alternative to spamming the butts off of Whirlwind. So finally, arms will have a little bit more single target damage option. Still suffering with the loss of Overpower. And so now that we're seeing Slam come back into rotation, I feel like you're going to see a lot of warriors swapping over, at least for a duration of time, to check it out, unless it turns out to be horrible. I feel like Slam will be the better talent in this particular case. I think it will add some life and such to the arms rotation, and it probably will help speed it up just a little bit, which is going to be a massive improvement, I think. So interesting changes coming down the pipe for warriors. Overall, I know some interesting other class changes are coming, but again, I just don't really want to address them just because I'm not familiar with enough of the classes from I've played them before, so I don't want to just give out false information. It would basically just be me reading patch notes, and that isn't entertaining or fun to watch. But anyways, guys, I do appreciate you watching. Thanks for giving me your time, listening, checking it out. I hope you're excited about patch 6.1. I'm optimistic. I know previously, a couple days ago, I made a video talking about kind of how stale PvP is, and hopefully with some of the changes coming in now, we'll see some of the life breathed back into PvP, but we'll see. I'm still not ready to give up on WoW yet. Invested too much time into it. It's something really drastic would have to happen, I think, for me to give up on it entirely. But as always, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the videos, and look forward to seeing more, and I'll catch you next time.